Do it's Camdork.
Hello everyone, this is Chemdork, and welcome to episode 9 of season 3 of my Buildcraft, where we play Minecraft with the mods Buildcraft, Railcraft, and Forestry. Well, after a rather long hiatus, I have returned. Been kind of busy and went on vacation, and really just didn't have the time to record and set out another video, but here we are. And just picking up from last episode, way back in episode 8, we put in these two multi-block farms. There's one in the back and there's one in the front. The tree farm was really the main purpose for these multi-block farms. I needed a tree farm, and I needed it for generating charcoal so we could run our train back in the main base over there. And in today's episode, we're going to set up the charcoal gathering process, as well as work on a way of transferring liquids, at least, from here to the main base, because you'll notice, this is the other thing. I think we put in a steam boiler before, but this is a 1x1 steam boiler. Previous episode, this was a 2x2 steam boiler. We certainly could expand this, but it's just way too much steam. We don't need that much. And I've disabled one of these steam engines, hobbyist steam engines for now. I'm only running one of them, and I'm running it kind of occasionally. So we can run it now, but it doesn't have to run all the time. We just kind of run it occasionally when I need it so far. I'll probably figure out a way of automating it and having these guys run appropriately according to what the energy needs are for this area, but I'll probably want two steam engines just in case, and you'll kind of see what we might use those for later on. But anyway, here's the farms. They're working really great. We should have some, some wood and apples and stuff, and we have some veggies already, so that's great. And like I said, today's episode, we're going to start with placing these coke ovens, because this is how we are going to get wood into charcoal. And the cool thing about these coke ovens, you'll see in a second. Let me just kind of decide where to put them. I think maybe right here. We're gonna put two of them. I'm just gonna set them up right now, and then I'll probably cut and set up the pipe situation. But I do want to show you guys, we've built these things before. They are a multi-block structure from Railcraft. They are 3x3x3, except you leave a opening right here in the middle. So in total, that's 28 blocks, if my math is correct. And once they're built, you have this little thing in the side. You right-click on it, and it gives you this display. And I'll just show you the reason why we're using coke ovens instead of furnaces. So if I go over here to the furnace, you'll see if I want to generate charcoal, I have to put wood in here and something in the bottom to burn in order for the wood to be transferred into charcoal. So I effectively need a fuel source and the thing I need, and wood, to transfer and eventually make charcoal. There you go. Over here, however, in this coke oven, all I need to do is supply it with some wood, and that's it. And now it'll start to go. You see how it's now changed a different color. It is a longer process, but that's okay. We're not necessarily interested in speed, but eventually we'll get charcoal, and we'll also get some creosote oil. So we'll need to figure out a way of getting rid of the creosote oil. We'll transport it back to the base. We also need now a way of transporting fuel into this tank right here so that we can keep these steam boilers going as needed. So we're going to set up that whole process in this episode as well. Let me go ahead and finish setting up these coke ovens, and then I will also set up the pipe situation so that we can properly route the charcoal and the wood, etc., to the proper locations. So I'll be right back after I do that, and we'll kind of go over how it's going to work. Well, I decided to set up the pipes, and then we will complete the setup of transferring charcoal and creosote oil from these coke ovens to their storage locations. So first of all, the pipes situation, I didn't set this up quite yet because we're not ready to go, but what's happening is right now I can freely hook up this pipe right here because everything coming from this tree farm is labeled in magenta color, and we went over that the filter being here, right here, makes it so that any of those items colored in magenta will go this way. So instantly, the way we turn this on is putting a filter right here. The tree farm isn't actually generating items right now because it's not powered, so we can put that here. So what's going to happen is the magenta items are going to find this pipe. Half of them will go here just for storage, and half of them will go this way toward this processing area. Now, bear in mind, this will include apples as well as wood. So the wood will travel here and the apples as well, and it'll go through here. And eventually it'll hit this juncture. It'll either go up and around and over to here, or it'll go straight. Either way is fine. Eventually, things will make their way to this clay insertion pipe. If it is a piece of wood, it will go into one of these coke ovens. If it is an apple, it won't. And eventually, things that won't be able to fit into these ovens should make their way to this pipe, where they have a decision point of either going back here or over here this way. And once they go this way, they're going right back into the chest because they'll hit this. They'll be still colored magenta. They'll go here. They're still colored magenta, so now they're going to go into the chest. So this should be a rather foolproof way of making sure that maybe, say, for example, if these contain full, if there's no more room for wood, we don't want to add anything here. As well as saying that apples can come here and they can't be added to these ovens, so they're just going to pass back into the thing. So this is going to generate creosote oil and charcoal, of course. So right here we have creosote oil. And this guy is already set up to transfer, and basically if there's fluid in the tank, it puts out a redstone signal. We'll do the same thing here. There should be some fluid, 500 millibuckets of creosote oil. So we'll just set it so that fluid in the tank. Hold on, I like to set up my output first, a redstone signal, and then, whoop, there you go. Fluid in the tank, it turns on the redstone signal, and this redstone engine goes on briefly, and then it'll turn off, because I don't need this thing on all the time. See, just like this guy, he's not on all the time. We're going to do exactly the same thing over here for these redstone engines, which will be pulling out charcoal. So right now I'm going to say if there are items in the inventory, then put out a redstone signal. So let me do that, and there you go. So now it will instruct this to pull out one charcoal at a time. And yes, I don't have alt-archic gates right now because I don't have a lot of ender pearls, but I don't need them. Redstone engines work perfectly fine. And they're going to transport these items way over to here, which, oh, I need to set this up. This is going, I think it's the right way. Yeah, okay. Well, hold on. I ran out of my shovel, so I don't have any. There you go. Okay, so yes, it's set to go straight into there. And for this guy, we're doing the same thing here. We'll put it right here, and we'll say if there are items in inventory, oops, then redstone signal. So, whoop, there you go. Okay, cool. And now he's going to pull out things, and they're both going to, with this iron pipe, go into this chest. And that's where we'll be gathering all of our charcoal. I'm just going to close up all of this now, make it look nice-ish, and then we're good to go. Okay, so now that we have this processing of our wood and such done, so now we have charcoal going into here and creosote oil going into here, what do we do with it? Because we need to get this creosote oil over to our main base. We also need to make sure there is a supply of fresh fuel inside this tank so that our boiler can run, because right now it's not actually able to run anymore because it's run out of fuel. So instead of running back and forth here with a bucket, we're going to have to transport it. There are a few ways we can do this. We can do it by train. That's kind of fun, but we've already done transport by train. We can do pipes. Pipes would be very efficient and a very easy way to do it, but it's not as fun as what I would want to do, which is robots. Yes, I love robots so much because they add a lot of fun to the game, so even though it may be not that efficient, it is cool to see robots flying back and forth, and we can do that for transferring robots from here to here. Before we do that, before we set that up, though, I'd like to kind of go over a bit about robot intelligence, I'll say, in terms of how they work and how we can expect them to work. Okay, so I'll be right back, and we're going to go over that in a little more detail. We're back in the creative world to go over a potential issue that we have using robots. Now, you might remember from Season 2 that I've gone over general robot usage before, so we're not going to be going over that in this episode. Perhaps a later episode we will, but not in this episode. We're just going to talk a bit about robot behavior. But anyways, here are all the robots, and just in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, these guys are little worker guys that require power, and then once they use that power, they use it to do various things. So this one in particular, he is called a tank robot. He moves fluids, you see, moves fluid between tanks. And this is the guy we're going to be using to do the work of transferring fluid from our main base to and from our main base and the satellite location that we were just at with the farms. So this is the representative schematic of the situation we have. We have a main base, which is sitting in the mesa, of course, where we have fuel there. And we have a tank that can accept creosote oil. I don't know where this bat is coming from, but anyways. And this represents the area near the coke ovens, the multi-block farms, and the steam boiler where there is creosote oil there, but there is a tank that can accept fuel. So what we want to happen, of course, is the tank robot, can kind of hang out in the main base, pick up some fuel, go over to here, drop off the fuel, and then while we're here, pick up creosote oil and come back and drop off the creosote oil and then do the whole thing again and again and again until he can't do it anymore. What we don't want to happen, however, is to pick up fuel, transfer it back over here, go back to the main base, pick up fuel, transfer it back over here, and effectively not touch the creosote oil until the fuel is fully transferred. So in order to understand how we can avoid that situation, we need to know a bit about how the tank robot works and robots work in general. So I've created this little setup here. What we have is we have a tank robot sitting on a docking station. Once I turn this switch, it's going to tell him to work in the area, and that area is generally this area right here that encompasses these 4 tanks. We have 2 tanks for him to, one for him to pick up fuel, another one for him to pick up water, and 1 tank here, which is the drop-off point for water, and this is the drop-off point for fuel. And the setup for those is pretty simple, but I'm not going to go over it right now because the point here is to show you how this robot makes decisions. So he will make decisions based on the closest place for him to do something. So the tank robot, when I turn this switch on, is going to look for a docking station next to a tank that he can pick up liquids from. He has 2 choices, this one and that one. These are both in his area, and he has 2 choices for which one to go to. He will go to this one, and the reason why I know that is because it is closer than that station. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks from the center point here for that station, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks to this one. So when I flick the switch, he will definitely go over here because it is closer. So he'll pull out some of this fuel, and then he'll be full of fuel, and he'll think, where do I go now? Well, he's going to go to the tank right here, which is set up for him to drop off specifically fuel. So he will go to that one, as he does. And then after he drops off fuel, he'll be empty again, and now he's going to look for a station to pick up fluid. And once again, he has the choice between these 2 stations. He will, of course, go to this one because it is closer than that one. So he goes to the water station, picks up water, and then once he's full there, he's going to go to this station and drop off the water. And so each time, by the way, he transfers 4 buckets worth of fluid each time, so it's like transferring 4 buckets. So he drops off the water, and then he's going to look once again, once he's empty, for another place to pick up liquid. And you'll probably see the issue here with this setup. This setup runs into the trap of only transferring water. After transferring a little bit of fuel, he'll only transfer water now until this tank is completely empty. Because every time he goes to drop it off here, his next place that is closest to pick up fluid is right here. It's not the fuel. So it doesn't create this alternate transport situation that we want over here. Now, luckily, this is really simple to avoid. You just avoid having this situation develop. But I thought it'd be a good time to indicate that this is something we'll have to think about in terms of robot transport of, well, basically all items, not just liquids, but all activities of robots kind of depend on this. They look for a particular thing to do, and they choose that thing to do based on the closest place to go. Okay, so let's go back into the world and set up the robot transport stuff. Let's set up the robots in this area first, but before we do that, question for you guys. Did you catch the error that I made in the beginning of this episode? Well, it was relating to the pipe setup for these coke ovens and transporting of charcoal. What I had before was this iron pipe right here was right here. And this wooden pipe is right here, and of course this basic gate is setting out a redstone signal every now and then and going on and off, and when it did that, well, this iron pipe was switching between going into this chest and going over to that one, so I was having charcoal spew out everywhere. So if you caught that, well, you get a gold star for today. Otherwise, well, maybe just like me, you didn't think of it in the beginning, but there you go. Crisis averted, no big deal. Now it's working perfectly fine. So let's go and set up the robot stuff in this area. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set where the robot is going to actually work, just so we can kind of define exactly where that is. So we're going to use the zone planner for this. And once again, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, and I've gone through it in a little more detail in other episodes in Season 2. We possibly will be doing this again in this season, just kind of a robot refresher, but for now, let's do it real quick. So here's the zone planner. There is the animal farms, the 4 of them. There's the bridge. This represents the mesa area and the main base area. There is one multi-block farm, that tree farm, and this is the vegetable farm. Here is the steam sort of setup area, and so I want to basically have this robot work in this area as well as over here. So we'll just define that. We're going to draw it in yellow because it's fun. We're going to have to drag and draw an area first, so I want to just make sure that it is including the area. Really all it needs to do is pick up from here and drop off over here. So that's fine, and this is also going to include some area where the robot gets charged, so I think that's going to be okay. It doesn't need to have that in its work area, but I'd like to put it there anyway. And then also what the robot needs is defining an area that's going to be dropping off stuff. I don't know exactly how I'm going to set that up, so I'm just going to put the whole thing around the main base right here, and this should suffice. And we're going to give this a name. We're going to say tanks stuff. I don't know, that's not very descriptive, but it's okay. So when we do that, we can transfer and write that to the map location, and then this will indicate this entire map area to the robot. That's where it's going to work. Okay, so we'll now set up the home base location for the robot, which I like to put on a charging station. So this is on a kinesis pipe. We need, in both of these areas, we need a drop-off, a pick-off point, and a place for the robot to get power in case he gets low. Because if he's low around this area, he will go to the nearest power station. If he's low in the main base, he's not going to be able to make it to this power station. So he's going to need another power station in the main base too. So for now, let's use these emerald gates to set up some of the commands here. And we're going to set it up because I know those of you in EU really dislike the fact that I use up for on and down for off. We're going to do the opposite, okay? So this is now a redstone signal off, and this is going to be the off state for the robot. So it's going to say, let's see, go to station. This will make sure that it goes home and it turns off. And when it's on, we're going to have him work in area, and he's going to work in the map location area. Okay, and he's just going to do anything he can in that area. So here's our robot. He has 20% power right now. I'm going to place him right here. He can gather some power as it's generated. We can even generate a little bit of power here. We don't have much steam left, but there you go. He's going to get some power. So while he's doing that, while he's grabbing some power, since we have him off, he's going to stick on this station. Whoops. He's going to stay on the station until I switch to the lever on. Okay. So until that time, let's go ahead and set up where he's going to pick up fluid. So he's going to pick up creosote fluid, so we want to put the docking station right there. And here, just a second. And he's going to drop off stuff right here. We need a fluid pipe for that, and a docking station for that. And let's set up this one first, that way I have the fuel bucket here. We'll say emerald or gate. This is going to be, if there is, so when is the robot going to transport fluid here? Well, when there is, let's see, when there is, I want to say when there's space for fluid, there's space for a fuel bucket specifically, then it's going to say accept fluids and accept a fuel fluid specifically. I don't know if we absolutely have to do that, but I want to do that anyways, and I'm just going to add this fuel into here so that steam boiler can keep going. Looks like he's still providing power to the robot, so that's good. And then I'm going to need some of this creosote oil to do the same thing over here, except kind of in reverse. So this is going to say if the tank contains, if there's fluid in the tank and that tank, see, water bucket doesn't makes it not true. If it's creosote oil, turns out it is, we're going to say, provide fluids to the robot, and we're going to provide creosote oil. And I don't think you need, again, to do that specifically. I'm going to keep this tank, actually. I'm going to use it in the... No, you know what? We have creosote oil in the main base. We're fine. And then... and that's it. That's pretty much all the setup we need in this area. So the robot is going to be having a place for home and power charging. He has a place to drop off fuel and a place to pick up creosote oil. And now let's go ahead and head to the main base area and set all that up. So I'll be right back. Okay, it's time to set up the same robot stuff here in the main base. To be fair, we're actually on top of the main base, but we need to set up similarly what we did over here, which was a pickup location, a drop-off location, and a place for power. We're going to worry about power later. First, I just want to look at the pickup and drop-off locations. So here we're picking, so in the tree farm area, we're picking up creosote oil, we're dropping off fuel. Over here in the main base, we have to pick up fuel and drop off creosote oil. So where are we going to pick up fuel? Well, the fuel tank itself is way down here. You might be able to see it. Yeah, there you go. It's just there. We could have the robot go there and collect it, but instead I decided let's have him kind of collect and do stuff on the roof here, because we have easy access right here. So this is the fluid pipe that goes way down to that fluid, goes way down into the fuel tank, and it transports it up here to the power plant area. So it mostly is always full of fuel, and there should be enough in here. And in this case, we'll just set a tank right here so that there is a place for the robot to pick it up, because you might remember that the wooden fluid pipe or an emerald fluid pipe is required for the fluid robots to realize that they're supposed to pick up a fluid. So I have to put it like this. And now let's set up the logic here with the emerald ore gate. So we're just going to set it up so that if this tank has fluid in the tank, and why not, we'll specify that it's fuel. We don't absolutely have to. But we'll say provide fluids, so that means it goes from the tank to the robot, and we'll provide specifically fuel, so we have to specify that. And then we're going to want a drop-off location for creosote oil. Again, the creosote tank is way over there. What we're going to be doing is just setting up a location right around here to drop off the creosote oil. And for that, we're probably going to say, let me just specify it's going to be like over here. I don't know. Or even, you know what, let's even set it up over here, and we'll just have it go across maybe. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, so I'll set it up just like right here. And then docking station right here, emerald ore gate, and once again we're going to say if this, in this case, if this pipe is empty, go ahead and accept fluids, and it's only going to accept creosote oil. So this is really important to specify here, because the pipe could contain anything, or it can contain nothing. If it contains nothing, then this is a place to drop off, well, any fluid, and we want to make sure that this is only going to be the place to drop off creosote oil. And then I'll just send a fluid pipe to go down to the creosote oil container over there. And then if the creosote oil is totally full, then this pipe will get completely full, and we will actually, this condition of pipe being empty will no longer be true. It's maybe not the best way to do it, though. I think we might actually have to do it with a tank. Yeah, I think actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set up a tank here instead, and we're just going to transfer from the tank out from the tank directly. It's going to be a temporary location. So anyway, let's go ahead and I'll do that. I'll run the fluid pipe, and then we'll be back to set up the power, and then we'll be ready to run this thing. Okay, see you in just a second. All right, we set it up. We're just about ready to go here. I set this up with a tank. It is just better and safer to do it this way, because you are kind of always fine with this pipe being properly empty. If the pipe is empty, the robot can transfer, but what might happen if you just have him transfer to the pipe when the pipe is empty is that as soon as the pipe gets fluid in it, the robot will stop transferring. So it might cause a problem. You're much better to transfer to a tank using this type of logic, which is space for fluid in the tank, then just dump the fluids into there. And then what I have is if there's fluid in this tank, just pull it right out. It goes into this fluid, into this pipe, which goes all the way across and back down into that creosote oil place. So now let's test to see if that robot logic is going to work appropriately, or whether we have to worry a bit about spacing of these stations. So let's just kind of plan what the robot's going to do. He's going to lift off. He's going to look for a place to pick up fluid. It's going to be this place right here. It's going to be the closest. He will, however, see this, but of course that place is closest, so he'll go there. He'll be full of creosote oil, so he'll look for a place to drop it off, which is going to be right here. And once he finishes dropping off creosote oil, he's going to look for the next closest place to pick up fluids, and that'll be here. because it's closer to that one, and then likewise he'll be full of fuel, he'll go over there, he'll drop it off, and so this should actually work perfectly fine. He'll transfer fuel to there, he'll drop it off, he'll pick up creosote oil, he'll transfer it to here, he'll pick up fuel, and kind of this will be the sequence. When the robot is out of power, close to here, he'll go right there for more power. When the robot's out of power here, he's going to want to go someplace for extra power, and right down in there we're going to have him go. So, okay. And we're just gonna, I'm just gonna set up 2 spaces for docking stations right here. It's actually gonna work pretty well. So there you go. There's 1 and there's 2. I'm only doing that for symmetry. The thing is, I might want to make sure I run this. I mean, we can put logic in here to make sure that the power plant runs whenever our robot goes here, but for now this is going to work just fine until I set up that logic. Like I said, there's kind of some logic here that we can set up to make things a bit more smoothly operating, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to put that in place at a later time. So for now, I just want to see this thing run. So let's see, we have everything set up. The robot has ample, let's just say, power, and let's go ahead. So here he goes. He's working in his area. He has some power, as indicated by the level of red in the center of the robot. He's going to go over here, pick up some fuel, or pick up some creosote oil. Go ahead. And the good thing about this is that the robot should function perfectly fine, even if he doesn't have any, say, creosote oil to pick up, for example. It still should work perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and go over to the main base and see him operating. He's flying over. Awesome. I wish you could name these guys. I've tried it with name tags. It doesn't work, but maybe I'm not using it properly. I'm not sure. But I wish we could name these guys. That would be cool. So anyways, he's going to drop off the creosote oil. There it goes. And it's filling up in this tank. It will start the pull of creosote oil out. You see it coming out the fluid pipe right there. And then once this robot is done his job, come on. You can transfer. You can put emerald pipes and golden pipes, and the robots actually do transfer a little quicker. But this is fine. We don't need speed here. And now he's going to pick up fuel. And same deal. Go ahead, suck up the fuel. It'd be nice to see the level of liquid in these guys, just because it'd be kind of cool. But that should be enough. And I believe this is close enough. Yeah, it looks like he's heading directly there, and that's awesome. Okay, so this is working. This is working pretty well. So there you go, guys. We set up the charcoal manufacturing place, and we set up the robot. Where'd he go? Where is he? Where'd he go? I totally just didn't find him. Should be over here somewhere. Oh, wait, there he is. Ah, he's going through the trees. Nice. So he's dropping it off here, and this should work fine. Hooray for that. Yeah, we have 1 Arctic gate here. I don't know why I have it here. I don't really need it. But anyway, we set up this charcoal facility, which is running pretty well. And gaining charcoal, generating creosote oil. We are all set. So, thanks for watching, guys. That'll do it. In this case, the robot, he's going to be picking up creosote. Awesome. Now, yeah, he's doing his job. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Sorry it took me so long to get this episode out, like I said, but maybe next episode will be a little quicker. We'll see. Anyways, I will see you in the next episode. We'll be doing some more refinements of the base area here, and see you later. All right. Bye-bye, guys.